Strangers began the battle for $500,000.
Honey, I'm home!
Among them, the house flipper, the nurse, the chef, the rocker, the spray tanner, and the brother of a supervillain. The first twist stunned everyone.
Some of the greatest house guests will be joining you. They haven't come here to compete against you. They will be coaching you.
And 4 of the best players ever made their triumphant return.
Daddy's home!
A second twist stunned the new house guests.
One of you will be leaving the house tonight.
Oh my God.
Willie hoped to keep his family name a secret.
I think Willie might be related to Russell Hantz from Survivor.
But the family resemblance quickly caused suspicion.
You related to him or no?
No, I think he's from up north.
I don't want people to know I'm Russell Hantz's brother because if chaos starts happening in the house, they're definitely going to be pointing the finger at me.
At the draft, each coach picked the 3 house guests they would mentor all summer.
Your fate now rests in the hands of your players.
The first competition was a battle for head of household and survival.
Oh, my face!
When Brittany's team got the win, she chose the first head of household.
I choose Willie.
Congratulations, Willie.
But when Dan's team finished last,
Good job. Proud of you. All right.
he had to make a heartbreaking decision.
Jody, I'm sorry I have to evict you.
He hoped to team up with Dan.
You want to will it up a little bit with me?
I really want to play with him, but at the same time, you're kind of making a deal with the devil.
Janelle and Brittany had their own agenda.
I'm totally on board for us teaming up.
So they formed a power alliance of their 6 players.
We have to be committed to the cause, and we can get to the end.
We have a possible major play here.
Wanting even more protection, Willie made a side deal with Frank.
I won't with you this week, but I have to know that for sure that you're not going to vote me out next week. You got my word.
Ian, the superfan, became the first target.
He's driving everybody in the house crazy. If I put him up, I don't think anybody's really going to be upset about it.
But when Mike Boogie won the first ever coaches competition,
Any questions?
You have earned the right to keep one of your players safe from eviction this week.
he threw a monkey wrench in Willie's plan.
I'm going to choose to save Ian.
With Ian no longer an option, the Blondes targeted Dan and Boogie's strongest players.
Who does Dan not want to lose? Kara. And who does Boogie not want to lose? Frank.
And Willie decided to break his word to Frank.
I nominated Kara for eviction and Frank for eviction.
He urged Frank to keep his cool.
But first thing you do is figure out how to get good with Willie.
And he took his coach's advice.
I don't want to go after you.
I like Frank, and my problem is with Boogie. He's my threat, so I'm gonna have to figure out what to do.
At the first veto competition of the summer, another one of Brittany's players claimed power.
Congratulations, Shane. You have just won the golden power of veto.
And the house flipper decided not to flip the house.
I have decided not to use a veto today.
But he assured Frank he would keep him in the game.
You're still good to stay in this house. I'm telling you, I'm going to get you your votes this week.
And he went to work on his behalf.
The difference between Frank and Kara. Kara's definitely putting some of us up next week, because Dan's going to make her.
When paranoia got the best of Brittany,
I noticed that my picture has a keyhole next to it, as do the other coaches. And I start to think maybe the coaches are going to be entering the game as players.
she told Willie her theory.
I think we're going to go to evict somebody, and Julie's going to say, well, everybody, surprise, the coaches are going into the game.
Worried the house guests were being used as pawns,
If the coaches come back into this game, they're definitely not going to be looking out for our best interest.
Willie tried to unite the players against the coaches.
There is a possibility that them coaches are going to come back in here and play this game. I'm just letting y'all know that. That's a strong possibility.
And Frank worried that Willie may have hurt his chances to stay in the
I
house.
hope that powwow didn't hurt me.
Nothing's changed. We have to stay legit with each other.
So he decided to cut ties with Willie.
At this point, I don't think I can trust him, and I don't think he's somebody I want to work with.
And all hell broke loose.
You gonna chop my head off too next week, Willie?
Yeah, I told you. I said we'll work from week to week, and then you're gonna come throw me in the dirt?
At the first live eviction,
Kara, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Frank lived to fight another day.
Congratulations, Frank. You are the new head of household.
But before the night was through, another twist shocked the coaches.
The coach that wins this week's coaches competition can either keep one of their players safe or trade one of their players for another coach's player.
Willie's antics turned most of the house against him.
I said we'll work from week to week, and then you're gonna come throw me in the dirt?
Willie went on a terror spree through the house. Everyone in here hates him.
Making Willie public enemy number one.
I know that you're
At the coaches competition, Janelle didn't hide her feelings about Brittany's players.
Which players will be have-nots for the week?
Definitely picking Willie, JoJo, Shane.
When his only allies turned their backs on him,
Willie, I'm sorry, but I can't be associated with you.
Willie began to spiral out of control.
Why?
Because I'm not going to go out like that, Britt. I'm not going out
You're
like
not going to go out like what, with class?
No, I'm not going to go out with class.
And when his temper got the best of him,
Willie, come to the DR now.
he was expelled from the game.
As you all know, violence is not tolerated in the Big Brother house.
Must down a man, Brittany's other players became the targets.
I've nominated you, Shane, and you, JoJo, for eviction.
But at the veto competition, Shane ordered up an El Vito Grande.
You win the power of veto. That's what I'm talking about.
Fearing she was the new target, Danielle went to her coach for advice.
If I try to help you, it's gonna seal your fate.
But this time, Dan tried a different tactic.
It's graduation day.
I'm trying to light a fire underneath her so she starts to fight to save herself.
Dan's abandoning me. I feel so rejected and unwanted.
And at the veto meeting, Danielle's fear became a reality.
I decided to nominate Danielle.
Who will, when not busy winning vetoes,
Does this hurt or tickle?
Ah!
That hurts?
Yeah, that
Or
hurts.
does it tickle?
Are you serious? I'm going to bite you.
Shane was busy winning over the ladies.
Shane, let's make out.
Come on over and cuddle.
Don't tempt me, Shane.
But when Danielle heard Shane was two-timing,
It's mostly like JoJo joking about climbing on top of him and stuff like that.
Oh.
she had a hand in sealing JoJo's fate.
I bet you and Shane like each other. I mean, we were really good friends.
At the live eviction, one budding showmance was cut short.
By a vote of 5-1, JoJo, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
With the whole house against him, Brittany's final player scored big.
Congratulations, Shane. You are the new head of household.
He quickly joined forces with his flirtmance, Danielle.
So, you're the final two.
I'll go final two with you 100%.
And their coaches wanted to go after Janelle and Boogie's strongest players.
You guys think I'm putting one of each up?
Yeah.
Who's most likely to win this game?
Frank. Will.
But Shane had a secret deal with Frank.
I want to give you my word saying Will is my #1 target. You want Will out, I will vote Will out.
When Janelle won her second coaches competition in a row,
It is now your choice to either save a player or trade a player.
she granted safety to Shane's #1 target.
I'm going to have to save Will.
With Will safe, Janelle went to work to save her other players.
You are working alone. I mean, we are definitely open to working together. Somehow, some way, I really hope that I got through to Brittany.
But when Boogie and Frank pled their case,
You obviously have power, you have control. What you have to worry about is when that goes away.
Shane was confused about whom to side with.
You tell me.
I have to go start my nomination ceremony right now, and I have no idea who I'm going to nominate.
Oh my God, I don't know what he's going to do.
But in the end, Shane stuck to his secret deal with Frank.
I have nominated you, Joe, and you, Ashley.
At the veto competition, Shane continued to dominate.
I did it. 3rd power veto in a row. I got the power this week.
While Frank was confident he had nothing to worry about,
Shane winning the power veto is great for me. Makes his target bigger, and at the same time, we're working together, so I'm safe.
Janelle went on the offensive.
Let's work together, like throughout this game, and get rid of them downstairs.
After a comment from one of Boogie's players,
You're not putting Shane up?
Yeah, I don't see any foreseeable circumstance.
Brittany and Shane began to doubt Boogie's strongest player, Frank.
I'm going to get rid of Frank because I don't trust Boogie. I might trust Frank, but I don't trust Boogie. Boogie's in Ian's ear, then he's obviously in Frank's ear. This might be the time to go Janelle and backdoor Frank.
So Brittany and Shane concocted a plan.
You could say I was too worried about you guys flipping votes.
There you go.
Hoping to cover up their scheme to backdoor Frank.
Like, really, the only way that we know for sure which way the vote's gonna go is if somebody from your team goes out.
And at the veto meeting, Shane made his big move.
I nominate Frank. Sorry.
With a secret plan to send him out the door.
I told him he was good, don't worry about anything, but that's not true. He's the #1 target.
While Janelle and her players celebrated,
That was awesome.
Well, that's part of the game.
That takes balls, though.
Frank was clueless that he was the real target.
He told me straight up, he's like, look, no matter what happens, you're good.
I'm pretty rock solid on 2 votes to keep me in. That's Jen and Ian. That means Danielle's a swing vote.
Meanwhile, tensions rose between Will and Janelle.
Well, listen, if I feel like
I know how it works. She's being condescending. I'm getting a little bit tired of it.
Leaving Joe nervous about the vote.
We're in serious jeopardy with Will. I think he may have already joined our side.
But before the eviction took place, Julie made a shocking announcement.
Coaches, America has decided they want to offer you the chance to get back in the game as players and compete for the $500,000 prize.
Leaving the coaches with a decision to either remain coaching or reset the game.
If just one of you hits that button, the game is reset.
No thanks, America.
And with the press of a button, the coaches became players and the eviction was called off.
A new game begins right now.
With the game reset, Danielle took down the competition in an epic battle for head of household. And she continued the mission to get Frank out of the house.
I have nominated you, Frank, and you, Will. Frank's gotta go.
Hoping to further his game, Ian looked for a new alliance.
I want to do whatever you guys want to do.
And he joined up with Shane, Dan, Brittany, and Danielle.
If I have the opportunity to run all the way to the end with this kid, I'm going to do it.
At the veto competition, Frank's life was on the line.
I'm wondering how many lives I have left in this game. Winning this power veto is crucial at this point.
But while Danielle won the veto, Frank won a spiritard.
I've got spirit. How about you?
Knowing he and his ally Frank were in danger,
We just got our hard hats and we go to work every day. Pack a lunch.
Boogie made a huge pitch.
What about taking this opportunity and getting a really, 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 really dangerous player out of this game? Janelle.
When the former coaches got together, Boogie refused to betray Frank.
I don't trust you. I'm not willing to send Frank home this week, and that's off the table.
So Dan tried to broker a deal.
Is there anything to take Frank off the table? Because clearly, just sitting back, there's some discord between you and Janelle.
Your guy Joe is the biggest troublemaker in here. What about him going up tomorrow?
But when Janelle hesitated to give a straight answer...
Well, that clearly is never going to work.
Were you ready to sack down her?
I mean, I'm going to sell the squad and say, let's do it.
A new alliance was formed behind her back.
The Silent Six.
Oh. And at the veto meeting, Janelle was blindsided.
I'm so sorry, but I have to nominate you, Janelle.
Everyone told Janelle what she wanted to hear.
You will probably stay over Frank anyways. Are you still gonna vote for me to stay?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking a lot about it.
You're for sure still voting to keep me, right?
Yeah, of course.
But in the end, Joe was her only vote.
I vote to evict Frank.
And Janelle walked out of the Big Brother house for a third time.
Janelle, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
At the head of household competition, Frank went from on the block to on top once again.
Congratulations, Frank. You are the new.
Frank kept the Silent Six in power. But not everyone in the alliance was excited about the victory.
Frank has all the power this week. If we put our trust in the wrong hands, this could really come back to bite us.
With no ally in the house,
It's tough as nails in here, let me tell you. It's not easy. It's not for the weak at heart.
Joe was the easy target.
I just don't see Joe not going home next.
But when Will went to talk to Boogie and Frank,
Who do you want out of this house after Joe's gone?
I'm not going to answer that question right now.
his attitude rubbed them the wrong way.
That's it. Later.
Later, taters.
And Boogie wanted to make Will public enemy number one.
I'm starting to lean maybe on getting Will out. There's no doubt he's putting this up.
But Frank had a bigger fish in mind.
I'd like to send Dan home this week if possible.
I do think it's a little early.
At the nomination ceremony, Frank listened to Boogie's advice.
I've nominated you, Joe, and you Will for eviction.
Shane, Brittany, Dan, and Danielle formed two different alliances. One with Frank and Boogie.
The Silent Six.
And another with Ian.
Quack.
Oh, that's it. It's a freaking quack pack.
At the veto competition, Frank claimed even more power.
Frank, you have won the power of veto.
And some of the Silent Six were worried he would betray the alliance.
Worst case situation right now, and I could be backdoored at this point.
I'm concerned a nominee's going to come down, and I could possibly get backdoored by Frank this week.
Will and Ashley tried to convince Frank to backdoor Dan.
We're always saying how Dan was a dangerous player, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know if that's who you're targeting. I'm just talking.
And he gave it serious consideration.
He kept telling us he was working for us, but the whole time he was working against us.
I feel like my best chance of getting to the end of this game and actually winning might be getting rid of Dan sooner rather than later.
But in the end, Frank chose to play it safe.
I have decided not to use the power of veto.
Tonight. After a battle of endurance, Shane became the new head of household.
Shane is one HOH.
Ian told Brittany that Boogie was coming after her and Shane.
He goes, who would you put up? I was like, and he goes, Brittany. And I insisted. He was like, no. And he goes, Shane. I was like, yeah, Shane.
So the Quack Pack decided to make him and Frank their targets.
They're coming after us.
Obviously.
The only way to ensure that one of them goes home is if you put them both on the block.
If it's better for myself and the Quack Pack for Boogie and Frank to go up this week, that's just what has to happen.
When a mystery box appeared in the house,
What the frick?
Shane got nervous about making a big move.
What are the chances do you think it's going to affect my decision for nominations?
Not.
This could be a huge twist or a game changer, so I really need to think about things.
But at the nomination ceremony, he stuck to the plan and officially ended the Silent Six.
I've nominated you, Boogie, and you, Frank. Sorry.
The Silent Six is a wrap.
Frank and Boogie were completely clueless about Ian.
Who is it? Dan?
Don't let him fool you, son. Don't let him fool you, dog.
He's not the wolf in sheep's clothing. I am.
So they went on a witch hunt to find out who betrayed them.
On my wife, on Chelsea.
didn't come out of my mouth.
Dan, I'm sorry, buddy, but you can say that, but you've lied to my face before, that's it.
And I can understand why you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
And Dan questioned how long he could keep Ian safe.
I'm close to not being able to protect that kid any longer.
At the veto competition, Frank saved himself yet again.
That's 3 competition wins in a row for me. Dan, why don't you suck it?
Boogie tried to rally the house against Dan.
It's not too late. They made a move too early, and there's enough bodies in here to flip this around.
And Jen became his soldier.
Dan, he's the most dangerous player here.
But all she got in return was a spot on the block.
I have decided to nominate Jen. I'm sorry.
Ian continued lying to Boogie and Frank.
You're not sure you're voting for me to stay?
No, I'm voting for you to stay.
Oh, okay. I'm like...
At the live eviction, a Big Brother legend was sent packing.
By a vote of 5-2, Boogie, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Then Julie surprised the house with some shocking news.
It's time for a double eviction.
And a second house guest was sent out the door.
Ashley, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Congratulations, you are the new head of household.
Woo! And Dan knew he was the #1 target.
There's no doubt in my mind who he's gonna put up. But I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stay in this house.
Looking for a backup plan, Brittany made a deal with Frank.
You down?
I'm down.
And Shane's down too.
Shane's down too.
When Frank opened Pandora's box, a veto was unleashed into the house.
This could be the lifeline I need to get me to the next step in the game.
And Ian claimed the golden prize.
It feels really good to have it in the palm of your hand.
At the nomination ceremony, Frank targeted his arch enemy.
I nominated you, Dan, and you, Danielle. If Dan doesn't go home, this really might come back to bite me. I don't want to take a shot and miss.
At the veto competition, it was do or die for Dan.
There's no way I'm throwing this competition to anyone. I'm gonna go out and try to win this thing for myself.
But when Jen got her first win of the summer...
Congratulations, Jen. You've won the golden power of veto.
Dan was crushed and was forced to endure 24 hours of solitary confinement.
How am I gonna spin my way out of this?
When he emerged, he surprised the house by hosting his own funeral.
I'm dressing all black for a reason. Stop crying, Brittany.
But it was Danielle who got buried.
You know what you did. And in this game, you're dead to me.
Step 1, invite all the house guests to Dan's funeral. Step 2, go talk to Frank and blow up the quack pack.
Dan's next move was throwing Ian and Brittany under the bus.
There was an alliance created. Not with 4 people, with 5 people.
Ian,
this was my pitch to you. Brittany's a more dangerous player.
And after Frank considered Dan's proposal...
If I went to Jen and said, Jen, I want you to use the veto on Dan.
No one would ever think we'd be working together.
2 arch enemies declared their allegiance to one another.
Yeah, final 2, man.
Dan revealed his master plan to Danielle. While Frank convinced Jen to work in a new alliance. At the veto meeting, the unthinkable happened.
I have decided to use the power of veto on Dan.
And Frank dropped a bomb on Brittany and Ian.
To quote a not-so-wise young man, Brittany, pop a squat.
Causing a war of words to erupt.
Actually, you self by putting me up on the block when you thought you can get me out.
If anybody in this house takes him to the end, they're a fool.
And Dan laid low, hoping to avoid the conflict. At the live eviction, Brittany's summer came to an end.
Brittany, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Dan worked his magic to smooth things over with the Quack Pack.
I'm gonna do whatever I can to keep us in the game. It's best that we start over and just, rally up.
When Ian outlasted the competition and won head of household...
Thank you, Frank.
You got it, Bubba. Congrats, man.
Dan turned on Frank.
While I don't take it lightly having to break a word to someone that I swore on my wife, it's what I have to do to benefit her and me in the long run.
And the reunited Quack Pack set their sights on taking out their biggest threat.
The Quack is back. and we're going for Frank and Jen?
Yeah.
All right.
Quack, 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 quack.
But when Ian started having second thoughts,
Next week, I might not be able to play HOH, but like you obviously would probably like to have me around on your side playing in POVs.
There's some really good arguments to keeping Frank around.
it was Dan who put the knife in Frank's back.
If Frank makes it to the end, are you kidding me?
And once again, Ian did Dan's dirty work.
I have nominated you, Frank, and you, Jen, for eviction.
At the veto competition, it came down to Frank versus Dan.
Congratulations, Dan! You have won the golden power of veto!
And Dan continued to play Frank like a fiddle.
Dan can't use the veto on me because it will expose our deal. Everyone will know we're working together.
At the veto meeting, Frank was clueless to Dan's devious master plan.
I've decided to use the power of veto on Jen City.
I've decided to nominate Joe.
Dan and Danielle were in an alliance with Frank and Jen.
Me, you, Dan, and Danielle working together. Oh my God.
But their true loyalty was with the Quack Pack.
The Quack is back, and we're going for Frank and Jen?
Yeah.
All right.
Quack, 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 quack.
At the second double eviction of the season,
Before the hour is over, 2 of you will be evicted.
Frank was blindsided.
Frank, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Dan took power.
Congratulations, Dan. You are the new head of household.
Ian was told he was going on the block as a pawn. But Dan set a plan in motion to backstab him.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't enjoy stabbing people in the back, but it's what I have to do to try to get to the end and win this thing.
When the boy genius won the veto, yes! Dan was forced to set his sights on a new target. But Danielle wasn't ready to cut Shane loose. So Joe was taken out instead.
Joe, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
At the head of household competition, Ian continued his winning streak.
Congratulations, you're the new HOH, buddy.
And he contemplated putting Dan on the block.
Guess what, Ian? I'm not cool with that, and I'm gonna come up with some crazy plan to make sure you actually don't follow through with it.
At the nomination ceremony, Shane became the Quack Pack's pawn.
I have nominated you, Shane, and you, Jen, for eviction.
But Dan had more sinister intentions.
I wanted to take out Shane during the double eviction, but Danielle talked me out of it. This time, I talked Ian into not putting me up so he could put Shane up so I could take my final shot at the kid from Vermont.
At the veto competition, Shane threw a monkey wrench in Dan's scheme.
Congratulations, Shane. You've won the golden power of veto.
So Danielle became the new pawn.
I am going to nominate Danielle.
At the live eviction, Jen City became Jen Jury.
Jen, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
With only Quack Packers remaining, Danielle guaranteed her spot in the final 3.
Congratulations, Danielle. You are the new HOH.
But Dan continued to pull the strings.
I want Danielle to keep Shane off the block because that'll make Shane feel extremely comfortable with Danielle. If Shane's comfortable with Danielle, he's gonna do what Danielle wants. And Danielle's gonna do what I tell her to do.
And Danielle did exactly what he wanted.
I'm nominating you, Ian, and you, Dan, for eviction.
At the final veto competition of the summer, Danielle continued her winning streak.
Congratulations, former player. Hell of a job.
So Dan worked his magic once again.
Anytime I'm sitting on the block after the veto, I'm going home.
If I pull you down, are you saving Shane?
Yeah.
You swear?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
I may want to keep Ian and knock out Shane because I know no matter what, Shane's not going to take me to the final 2, and Ian will.
But when Danielle used the veto,
I've decided to use the power of veto to save you, Dan.
Dan blindsided the couple.
Shane, I'm sorry I have to evict you.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Then please stand and cast your vote to evict.
Guys, as you know, it makes me physically ill that I have to choose between two quackpackers. Danielle, you're the sweetest person I've ever met in my life, but I have to honor my commitment to Dan, so I vote to evict Danielle. Sorry.
It's official. Danielle.
Sorry.
You are the last person to be evicted from the Big Brother house.
I'm done.
Southern Charm.
It'd be great.
Love you, Danny.
Thanks, guys.
Frank's vote goes to... Congratulations.